Might not look so fat when you're facing front on.
Welcome to the Student Pilot Podcast. My name is Simon Callis, a flight school owner. Each week, myself and my guests will be talking all things flight training and beyond to help inspire, motivate and support you on your journey to becoming a private or commercial pilot. So, welcome to the podcast, everybody. This week we're looking at first solos, talking about first solos. Can you remember yours, Claire?
I can. I'll tell you all about it later.
Oh, excellent. So we're talking about what's required for first solo, you know, what it includes, how we get there, all of that kind of stuff. So I think the first thing we should probably say before we get started, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel, we'd really appreciate it. It helps us grow the channel and reach more student pilots like yourself. So welcome back, Claire.
Hello, nice to be back.
Nice to be back. So just to clarify, Claire, what is a first solo?
Well, it's the first time you get to fly the plane on your own without the instructor sitting there whinging and moaning at you every 5 seconds for not applying your carb heat and not doing this and not doing that. It's
More
great.
like rudder and all that stuff.
Absolutely, yes. It's specifically, it is one circuit on your own, and you're just going to do that circuit exactly the same as you would do carrying it out when the instructor's sitting with you. So it's no big deal. It's just nobody sitting in the right-hand seat, that's all.
Yeah. And typically the flight only lasts sort of 7 to 10 minutes, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So
pretty much.
You're only in the air by yourself for a little while. And from a regulatory perspective and a readiness perspective, what are you looking for as an instructor before you send somebody solo?
So you have to be obviously demonstrated to be safe as a pilot. Various schools will have various requirements that they will each, stipulate. So I can go through the ones that we have at ALMAT. So we make sure we finish the syllabus right the way up to exercises 12 and 13. There are a few additional extras in there. So not every school will require flapless or those sorts of approaches and things to be flown. We tend to do so. I believe very much in, you need to have all the tools in the toolkit so that if you're on your own and something goes wrong, you can deal with it much more readily. We also have in our syllabus the diversion to another alternate airfield, don't we? And again, that's just the real backup. If the worst came to the worst and somebody else had an incident on the runway and closed Coventry whilst you were downwind, what are you going to do? So all of our students can get... exactly. So all of our students can get to another airfield if they need to before they go first solo, which is great. So there's that. From an actual regulatory point of view, you only need a medical.
Yeah.
So that's the key thing there. So you satisfy your instructor that you're safe. Medical needs to be all sorted out. And, that's pretty much it, really. For us, we insist on having an air law and comms exam papers completed, don't we?
Yes.
That just makes, again, it's making sure that everybody's competent in the air on their own.
Yeah, absolutely.
It should give you the confidence as well as the additional, as the pilot on flying, that I can deal with all this.
Yeah. I mean, typically in that, obviously, so we're going to do the syllabus to a satisfactory standard up until that point. We're going to divert to another airfield. The weather needs to be suitable on the day. They've done air law and comms from our school perspective. Medical in place, legal requirement. Then we've got a pre-solo sign-off check sheet, haven't we? Yeah,
we do. So again, the paperwork side of things, obviously most of that I've just discussed has been from a practical point of view, but we like our students to make sure they've got their weight and balance up to scratch as well. Performance calculations and things. It's all part of being the pilot. If you're going to go and fly on your own, you need to have that sort of knowledge behind you, don't you?
So I think the key thing is if you've got to that stage, obviously from our school anyway, I know that you'll do things like glide approach, flapless, engine failure after takeoff. It's any potential eventuality that could happen while they're flying by themselves. They need to have demonstrated that they're at least competent at recovering from that situation.
We try our best to make sure that we've covered every eventuality. We're not going to be able to cover everything.
No, of course
but
not.
99.9% we hope we've got. That should give everybody the confidence to go off and do it on their own.
And one thing that I know we do, and there's a good reason for it, is we don't necessarily tell our students when they're going to be first solo, because it kind of preempts worry for them that they don't necessarily need.
I've actually found historically that it puts too much pressure on their shoulders. So you say, oh yeah, you'll be going solo next week. They've got the whole week to think about going on my own, and then the friends and family come in to watch, and the pressure's built up, and then they don't fly anything like that you could do, and you end up saying, I can't send you. You're not good enough today. You're not performing today. So you need to take that pressure away, really. I was
going to say, I've seen that a couple of times where people's family have turned up and it's like, it's not really appropriate.
No, everybody wants to be part of that, that big milestone. But it'd be better if you had somebody video it like your instructor from the side as and when you're ready, and then show it at home. Then
absolutely. And the other thing, obviously, we do the I'm safe thing. So that's the medication, alcohol, drugs, fitness stuff.
We're thinking really in terms of the student needs to feed back to us that they're feeling okay to go flying. It's all very well me saying you're ready and good to go, but if the student's not in the right frame of mind, or they've had a party the night before and they're not feeling quite on top of it, they might not display it with me. But the moment that pressure is raised when they're on their own, little things can come out, can't they, to bite you? So so the acronym I'm safe is really a good one. So are you ill? Are you on any medication that's likely to affect your performance? Are you stressed? Have you taken any alcohol or drugs recently? Hopefully neither. And emotionally, are you feeling okay and ready to go for it? And if you can tick the boxes and all those, it's
I think the drugs even down to like just taking headache pills. If you've got a headache anyway and you're taking drugs to, should you really be flying, especially not in that circumstance.
That really comes down to the illness, doesn't it?
Exactly.
You're not well. You're not going to perform at your best if you've got things like that going on in the background.
So on the day of that flight, the most likely outcome is that you're going to, put them through the paces, if you like, and then when you get to a point whereby you're happy, you're going to say, right, pull over there, I'm getting out.
Yeah, pretty much. I would say that's a fair point.
Yeah, but I think that's good because they're at their most confident and unsuspecting, if you like, when it happens.
Yeah.
So, okay, so moving on to, and this is a controversial one, if you like, is from an hour's perspective, when would somebody be ready?
Oh, the number of times I hear this, it drives me mad. You're ready when you're ready, and you're not ready until you're ready. That's it. Nothing beforehand. So absolutely. I know that we as a school have a 10-hour minimum rule, don't we? So we do not send anybody less than 10 hours. I have done in the past, I think 2 students have done it just under 10. Yeah. They were exceptional. They were on a fast-track course many years ago where the rules and regs were slightly different, so it enabled me to be able to send them slightly earlier on. They still covered everything that I needed them to cover, and they were good. But that's rare.
It is,
and I would not expect anybody to be doing that really in this day and age. There's a lot to be put into. Absolutely. So 10 hours minimum, but it is competency based. So, if you're listening at home, please don't think that I'm going to hit the 10 hours and I'm going to be ready for solo. No, you're not. All right, you're ready when you've done all of these things and those landings are consistent, you're safe. That's
Absolutely. And for some people, it can be 20 hours, it can be more than 20 hours. There is no... Effectively, you've got to get them to a level where they're competent to do it. And then if we think that they're not going to reach competency to do it, it's just as a school that needs to tell them that, isn't it?
Yeah, I took 20-odd hours to get to my first solo. Either 20 or 24, something like that. It was a long time ago. But
absolutely. So people get hung up about it. It's really not an issue. It's just...
It's not. It's amazing how quickly people want to get this first solo, and then they get their licence in 45 hours, and then they're like, I want to go to our building and things. They're like, I've got 180 hours to build now. It's like, well, you could have got rid of half of those in the PPL if you stop rushing.
Absolutely. So then, next thing is, if you had tips for a student who was sort of midway through the circuit and they're sort of preparing for their first solo, what would those be?
Really know your topics. So make sure that everything that you're doing practically is comfortable in your mind. If you're doing those glide approaches, understand that process, and it's going to make the whole physical being able to fly it properly much easier for you, isn't it? So know those subjects, make sure you've read up on everything you can beforehand, and be prepared. And then if your school has got requirements that need doing, like your exams and things, you need to get that medical done, you need to get those written exams done and out of the way. Don't leave them till the last minute. That's another pressure, isn't it? Just get them out of the way. So things like that. That's really about it, I would say, and just try not to put that pressure on yourself. Just come in and treat every flight as the same. It's a learning day for me today. I'm going to learn, and if that means that the end of that is that your instructor gets out and you do your first solo, then fantastic. And if it waits another week, who cares?
Yeah, I mean, I think from talking to some of the students, I think one of the things that a lot of them say is just remember to keep calm.
Yeah.
During the flight, because it's only 7 to 10 minutes. Remember what your instructors taught you. And if you really do, get worried and stuck, you can always talk to the tower.
Yeah. So my students know that here at Coventry, I go up to the tower and I'll sit and monitor the flight from up in the tower so that they know I'm at the other end of the radio if they need to. I won't talk to them, that we've done through the FISO guy, but otherwise I'm there, and the help can be found. I mean, that's not a major issue. It's only one circuit. Enjoy it. If it doesn't go as planned, then just go around and try again. Nobody's expecting you to do the perfect landing. If you do, then that's brilliant. But if it goes wrong, then know that go around, reset yourself, refocus, have another go. That's it.
One of the things I remember as well was the difference in takeoff and landing performance. You could feel the difference.
It's massive.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not fat, but even when I get out of the aeroplane, the climb performance on it is significantly different.
Yeah,
that they will shoot up much more like a rocket than normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it is only a Cessna 152 or whatever.
So after the solo, then what happens after the solo?
Well, it's congratulations all round, and we get a nice little certificate or whatever, or a cup of tea from your instructor or whatnot. More circuits, I'm afraid, because you need to have probably another hour maybe of circuit consolidation where you can do those touch and goes and make all those decisions for the next hour on your own. So you've done it for 6 minutes. The next time is to take that a bit longer. It might be 30, 40 hour, depending on what the circumstances allow. But basically, you'll want some solo circuit consolidation. So there's nothing immediately new that comes from the flight after first solo.
It's just a bit more duration in the circuit. So then, tell me about your first solo, Claire.
Well,
was it spectacular?
I'm slightly embarrassed by this because here I am croaking on about, you need to be prepared and, blah, blah. I wasn't at all. I didn't read the syllabus when I came to learn to fly. I didn't do anything. I just bowled into the school and said, can I learn to fly, please? I don't care what it's about. I just want to do it.
That sounds like me.
So when it was time to go first solo, I didn't know such a thing existed. And my instructor said, right, I'm getting out. And I was like, what? Where are you going? Yeah, that was a bit different. I did it, and it was fine. I enjoyed it. So, congratulations all round, etc., etc. But I hadn't really.
So, how did you feel when you realised that you were going up by yourself and you didn't know you were going up by yourself?
A bit sort of like rabbit caught in the headlights. Like, okay then, because he just got out and walked off. I was like, see ya.
Come back.
So yeah, it was a bit different. I wouldn't recommend that as a style of an approach of decent flight training. But at times were different then. I didn't have the internet at home and things like that, so research was limited. Yes, they did give me all the bags in advance and the books, and did I read them? No. But it was different. I didn't have the plan. I just did it because I enjoyed it. There was a very different sort of frame of mind for me.
It was. I didn't seek the information either. I just turned up every week and see what happens.
Yeah, that was it.
And that's why it took me so bloody long. Yeah, I did. I can remember mine though. It was Golf Bravo Oscar Zulu Romeo. It was a little 152, and I remember being told I was getting close to first solo, and we'd been doing some circuits here at Coventry, and my instructor had talked to him on the radio saying he wanted to send a first solo, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And they said, negative, it's too busy, circuit's too busy. So he said, we'll just go to Wellesbourne and practice some circuits there. So I thought, yes, I've got away with it, Got to Wellesbourne, did some circuits there, and he was like, right, we'll land then and I'll get out here. And I was like, absolutely not. I said, I don't know this airfield well enough. There's no way I'm going solo at this airfield. And he's like, no, ridiculous. Let's just land. And I was like, no. And he was like, you for real sort of thing. I was like, yeah, no, not doing it. And I just got all panicky, And then, so he said, okay, no stress. We won't do it. We got back to Coventry and I was kind of relieved. So I thought, yes, I've got away with it now, Then he called him up again and said, if you want to send that first solo, it's quieting down now. I thought, damn it. So I did it then. But
brilliant.
It was
but it was nice to get it out of the way, right?
It was, yeah. But I do remember as soon as I got airborne, climbing out, looking over at the right seat, thinking, "Oh, damn it!" But it was all right. It was fine, and you get a clap on the tower and all that stuff.
I didn't get that when I got airborne. I just got airborne and flew it around, and I did all my checks out aloud because that's what I was used to doing. And it was just sort of, as you look around, you see that there's nobody in the right hand seat. That was a bit weird, but I didn't really think of it as anything other than I'll just carry on then.
Yeah,
since
absolutely.
I've got to.
But I hope you found this episode to be useful and enjoyable. And please, if you're looking to do your first solo very soon, don't panic, enjoy it. It's the first big milestone, and it's the first time you're a proper pilot, if you like.
I actually think it's more of a milestone than getting your skills test. Everybody remembers their first solo. It's that one thing. So
the skills test is a bit of a non-event, isn't it? It's
I wouldn't put it quite like that, but yes.
Well, it's what I mean is it's a bit anticlimax. It's a bit like, what do I do now?
Yeah, it is a bit.
But the first solo is like you're still buzzing the next day, aren't you? So.
You are. It's good. It's good.
Yeah. So thanks very much, guys. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Cheerio.
If you like this episode, please like, subscribe, and ding the bell to receive notifications of the next episode.